Hannah, welcome.
Thank you. Thanks so much for having me. So good to see you.
It's very good to see you. What's been going on? Now, I've known you for a long time.
It's been a very long time.
I actually can't remember what role you were in and what role I was in at NAB.
Yeah, something is obviously in banking, but maybe, I think we're in different roles, but that would have been, 20 years ago.
Yeah, you're definitely making me feel old now.
Me too. We started young.
20 years ago, so was that like contact center days?
I think so, yeah.
It's contact center days.
Yeah.
And maybe I was like moving to collections or something.
Yes, that's right.
Now, obviously, you're not in banking and finance anymore.
No.
What are you doing now?
So early last year, I set up my own business called Mind Pilot. It's a neuroscience-based consultancy. So we specialize in everything from workplace design, development, integrating human, business, and digital intelligence. So essentially designed to help optimize performance and well-being and help people and organizations think, feel, and perform at their best.
That's a lot.
Yeah.
How did you get into that?
So as a kid growing up, I was always absolutely fascinated by human behavior, the brain, the body, life, how everything works. And
you're a curious kid.
Very, very. And I was a little bit quiet. For some reason, people seem to always come and talk to me and be quite open with me. So I think I spent a lot of time understanding the way people behave and what motivates them and the types of things that are on people's minds, and studied psychology and then ended up in banking. Sort of seemed slightly unrelated, but obviously there's a lot of parallels between them. And I think the combination of, life experience and, working at NAB and working in organizational design and organizational behavior and transformation, seeing the opportunities for people around leadership and spending so much time at work, the impact that has on people, and also how people behave when they're under pressure and the types of things that people give up in their personal lives, like their health, their well-being, their relationships, their hobbies. And after we'd met, I was in another role and I was working with a lot of executives and started seeing the impact of that. And so set up a health and fitness business on the side. I wasn't working in it, but co-founded that with my partner at the time. And we did a lot of work to focus on health and well-being and boot camps. So I always wanted to be able to bring it all together. So have a business that focuses on, the individual, helping them show up their best wherever they are. So sleeping well, eating well, feeling good within themselves and having strategies to do that. And then the same thing at an organizational level to design really effective organizations and, make them a great place to work and have leaders with great capabilities and sort of design the work environment and business strategies and people strategies with the brain in mind.
Were you always like this as a kid, like interested in like what people were doing and like how they went about doing things? Because I guess thinking about my experience, like when I was a kid, all I wanted to do was grow up because then people would take me seriously.
Right.
And now I'm like, fuck, why did I want to do that? Because like now I just want to be a kid again,
Yeah, totally.
And I didn't stay in the one place. My dad worked in the oil industry, so we moved around quite a bit. So like at the time I hated it, but now I'm really thankful because I can just talk to anybody. And I'm much the same with what you just said just then, in that like I'll go into teams or I'll meet people and they'll just tell me shit.
Yeah.
And they'll even say, I'm not supposed to tell you this, but X, Y, Z. And I'm like, what is going on?
Yeah. And obviously that translates into what you're doing now, right? And I've listened to lots of your podcasts and conversations and, obviously one of my favorite people working together. And your ability to ask really good questions and
Yeah.
to create this safe space where
Yeah.
people feel that they can open up and share and be vulnerable and be themselves. And I think that's a real, it's a real credit to you that people can do that, because I don't think everyone has the ability to.
Yeah. I definitely know that I have the ability to like make people feel comfortable and safe and open up, like kind of drop their guard and kind of like just be. Which is interesting because the next business venture that I'm going into, but I'll tell you about that later. And so, yeah, it's just kind of like, I feel like if you don't acknowledge or don't realize what your skills are and you don't lean into them, you're never going to know.
Yeah, absolutely.
So
obviously you're here to ask questions, but I'm curious for you, are there things that you think that you do or that you observe that that you're doing intentionally or maybe subconsciously that create that space where people feel that they can talk to you and open up?
Well, so I know I've got a particular skill that is very unique, and it came about probably about 10 years ago that I realized I had it. I've had it my whole life, but I never knew what it was, and I kind of like tried to turn it off, but then it always like came back. So I can see people's auras.
Okay.
And I realized that in one of the last organizations I worked in, where I was dealing with career engineers, 60, 62 years old. I don't know what they're talking about, but I was able to develop a relationship and a friendship with them to be able to get what I needed out of them to do what I needed to do. And I was like, how did I do that? I don't actually know how I did it. So then I just kept trying. And then I was like, oh shit, this is actually what it is. And then I transferred that over to my photography career and just got really good at it. So being able to see people's energies and influence them to be able to get it to a point where I'm getting the best out of them.
Amazing. And I imagine that's so important, particularly with the photography, where people have to put their trust and confidence in you to be able to bring out the best.
Yeah. And look, I do use a lot of humor because I think like the body has a natural response to laugh in times of stress and pressure for most people. Some people it doesn't happen, but like for most people it's, you get that uncomfortable, like, I don't know what to feel, so I'm just going to laugh, and so I guess I just kind of like use that to my advantage. Like, I'm going to make people laugh and make them feel comfortable whilst also making myself look like an idiot, because if I look like an idiot, then you know what you're going to look like, and I'm a 6'2" guy, so, yeah.
Makes it a bit more comfortable.
Yeah. But yeah, what about you? What do you do? And I'll just get you to bring the microphone closer.
Sure. For me, being present's a really big part of it, which I imagine it would be for you, where you've really got to listen and, pay attention. So that's a big part where I think for most people we don't necessarily feel that people really hold the space for us to talk and to really hear us. So often when we're having conversations with people, people will offer us their opinions or their experience or share their own stories and scenarios. So I think part of it is, being present, and then when people are talking, listening and like really listening without that intention to give advice or to offer an opinion or anything else.
We're so distracted.
Yeah, totally.
And even just having like constant eye contact, right? Like people are just so scared. It's like, what are you scared of? Are you scared that I'm going to see through the bullshit that you're actually telling me, or I'm scared that I'm going to see something else other than what you're perceiving me to see? You know?
Yeah, it's interesting, and I think we spend so much time these days looking at our phones, and I've just come back from overseas, and I think one of the things I love about traveling when I'm on my own is meeting people and maybe being in a different environment where you're not on your phone and you're looking around and you're taking it in. I find that people are so much more receptive because there is that ability to make eye contact and to smile at people and to connect. And
where did you go?
went to Portugal
What?
and to London.
Why Portugal?
I was running a neuroscience-based leadership retreat there.
Of course you were. What the fuck?
Yeah, so Portugal, very fortunate. Portugal is somewhere I've always wanted to go, and I was actually going to speak at a conference there, and then I was asked with a partner that I have over in Portugal to combine a neuroscience-based leadership retreat. So it sort of worked out very well.
That's fucking cool.
Yeah, it was amazing. And I think there's so many people moving to Portugal and doing a lot of business out of Portugal. So it's actually a really cool place to be for work, but also for holiday.
Does that mean you're going to move there?
I would love to.
Australia's just so far away. Fuck me, Australia. Don't fuck me. You're already fucking me, Australia.
It is a little bit far, and I think when you're in Europe, you can just jump on a plane and go anywhere.
That's an understatement. It's a little bit far. We're a big fucking island in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah, I sometimes don't like watching you're watching the distance, and it's like we haven't even left Australia yet.
Yeah, I'm like, come on. I mean, look, I know heaps of people are coming here. And I get contacted all the time from like international models coming either for a holiday or like they're moving here. But I'm like, why are you doing that? Why are you coming here? It's like, look, it is a great place.
Yeah, it is.
But I've been here too long.
Would you consider moving?
I definitely want to move.
Yeah.
Yeah. But where? I don't know. I would have to say somewhere in Asia because the food's good.
The food is great. Yeah, definitely.
But yeah, like I definitely want to tour multiple countries to like take photos and interview people and stuff like that.
That would be cool.
Yeah.
And I guess for you with the sort of work that you do, you can take that anywhere.
Yeah, it's just leaving. And what am I going to do with all my cats?
That was going to be my next question. How about the cats? I'm not sure they'd...
Yeah, I don't think they can come with me. But, whatever. There's a couple of different options on the table, but yeah. So you set up a business, but like when you were younger, did you always have this idea of being like entrepreneurial and kind of like setting something up for yourself? Like where did this come from?
It's a great question. So definitely always very curious about everything and curious about the world, curious about people, curious about just anything and everything, how it all works. And so I didn't necessarily have this specific idea in mind, and I think it's probably changed and evolved a little bit. But I definitely always had the intention to work in this space. I always liked listening to people, working with people, helping people tap into maybe elements of themselves that I could see potential or maybe they couldn't. And I think one of the things I worked out quite early was that most of the challenges that people have is due to a gap in understanding, knowledge or skill. And so by helping people bridge those gaps, I think anything's possible. And so I always wanted to work in, somewhere in this space. I think initially I thought maybe I'd be a psychologist, and I spent a bit of time working at a high school straight out of finishing high school at And that
That's
was
tough.
it was tough. And I think probably not quite having the emotional maturity to, hear a lot of the stories and traumatic experiences a lot of the kids had. So I went and spent some time overseas. My dad lives in Asia, so I spent a bit of time living over there. And
Where does he live?
so he lives in Bangkok.
Ah.
So he's had a business, Thailand, Malaysia, Singapore.
Yeah.
So I spent quite a bit of time over there and loved it, loved the food, the culture, and just very different lifestyle. And coming back from that, I was offered this role at NAB, completely unexpected, but I think just I could see the alignment between when you're sitting down with clients and you're having conversations around what are your goals, what are you trying to achieve, what are the challenges or the barriers to helping you achieve that, what's in place, where are you now, where do you want to get to?
Yeah.
I could see it was actually quite similar.
Yeah.
So I really enjoyed that aspect of it, and that sort of evolved into working in learning, organizational design, development. So I did a little bit of a full circle coming back to what I really wanted to do, and I've been very fortunate enough that different experiences and meeting different people and still just being passionate about, being in that space has led me to where I am.
Do you have any brothers or sisters?
I do. I have 2 brothers and 2 sisters.
What the
Family.
5 of you?
Yeah.
Where are you in the ranking?
I'm number 2.
Oh!
So older brother and then myself. And younger brother and 2 younger sisters.
So, I mean, can you classify yourself as a middle child then? Because you have an older brother?
But we're very, very close. And so I think for
so
me...
you are a middle child then?
Well, I think as not to sort of stereotype the roles, but I think maybe as the older sister...
Yeah, okay.
And there's not a huge age gap, but a couple of years age gap. So I think my younger brothers and sisters are a little bit closer together.
Yeah.
So I think I, played the older sister role a little bit more.
What does your older brother do?
So he's an incredibly talented, artist. He works in post-production, editing, special effects.
That's fucking cool.
Yeah, very cool.
You need to link me up.
Yes, I will.
Get him on the podcast.
Yeah, he's very clever.
Well, my sister. So I am a middle child. My sister's a teacher.
Okay.
But she's like an assistant principal to the school that we went to when we lived in Singapore. But she's always been academic. So I've always lived in the shadows of her academic accolades.
Mm-hmm.
So for me, I guess I only really kind of came into this creative side like later in life, like because I wasn't creative like younger.
Okay.
I was more analytical and I wanted to get into engineering and like all that type of stuff. Like I did electrical engineering and I was really good at maths and all of that.
Yeah.
Yeah. But then the whole creative side kind of kicked in and I was like, yeah, this is what I need to do. But dealing with people is interesting because it's not black and white anymore. It's all grey.
Yeah. That's a really interesting transition, I guess, from being very mathematical and in that engineering space and into you've obviously got much more of a creative side. Was there something that you think happened that, highlighted for you that was an area of interest or to make that shift? Or
Well, so apparently when I was 19, I was talking about being a photographer.
Wow.
And then probably about 4 years ago when I reconnected with someone from Perth, because when I was 19 in Perth, I was saying that I wanted to be a photographer. And then 3 years ago, I reconnected with someone because I thought I knew them on Facebook. So I add them as a friend. And I was like, is this Lisa? And she was like, holy shit, is this Andrew? And then she was like, I can't believe it. Like, you're an actual photographer now. And I'm like, what do you mean? She goes, you were talking about that when you were 19. And I was like, that's how bad my memory is.
And so you'd forgotten.
I'd forgotten. Yeah.
Wow.
But I think it it kind of came about just because of my love of technology and the way that technology kind of like has evolved. And I'm in the generation where I was alive before technology and then after technology.
Right.
You know, like I remember when we lived in Singapore, my dad had organised for me to go like a computer programming school on a Saturday, which I fucking despised because it was a Saturday. I'm like, why am I going to school again? But I went, and the two memories that I have is one, doing some MS-DOS programming for what's that game called? Pong.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, Pong. They taught you how to make a program for Pong. And the second memory is walking out of class and going to a music store and buying a Red Hot Chili Peppers cassette tape.
Remember the good old days of the tapes. Yeah.
Yeah, which, you know, they're my only two memories. But the point is, I was always interested in technology. And so the idea of playing with a camera, like a bit of technology, and then the whole, not so much the manual photos, like manual cameras, but digital cameras, and then post-production, like editing and all of that, I got really interested in. And yeah, so, and then obviously like connecting the technical aspects with like the people aspects of like dealing with whoever you're taking photos with, you know. Yeah.
Interesting. So you've learned how to do all the post-production.
Yeah, all self-taught.
Wow.
Yeah, so I did electrical engineering.
Yeah.
And I was working, obviously, at the bank, and I didn't want to go back to uni and study because I'm like, fuck that. Like, I'm just going to work it out, you know. And even just setting up this podcast as well, like, I just worked it out.
That's great.
Yeah.
And there's such great technology now as well.
It's just moving at such a pace. I mean, yesterday I've been playing around with like AI models for photo generation. And I'm like, this is fucking wild.
Pretty incredible what's possible.
Yeah. And then I got onto something that bypasses having to pay for anything. How did I stumble across this? I still have no idea what I'm doing.
No.
But, you know, yeah, and then there's that whole AI automation workflow using NAN. I'm like, oh my God, this is like computer programming blowing my brains out.
And is that an area with all of AI that you're finding either with this work that you're doing or with your day job that you need to use, or it's adding value for you?
I'm just super curious because I think like if you don't inform yourself enough of what's going on, you get left behind. And it's moving at such a pace right now that I feel like it is a little bit of a wild, wild west situation because there's a lot of stuff going on and there's a lot of advancements going on. People are a little bit like deer in headlights, don't know what to go, don't know what to do, don't know what's what, you know, and all that type of stuff. And then I think the dust will settle and whoever's still playing in that space are the ones that are going to be like the leaders or the forefront, you know, pioneers of whatever they're doing. So that's why I'm interested in understanding it, seeing whether or not there's things that I can utilize to kind of like either enhance what I'm doing or offer it as a business opportunity for someone else, you know?
Yeah, it's a very interesting space,
Mm.
and I think definitely the opportunity for people to, the more you understand, the greater choice, and
Yeah.
you know, minimize some of the risks associated with it and get the value from it.
Yeah. What's interesting is like, so probably about 6 months ago, I came across a video that was like, you know, the way that people are using ChatGPT now is like the way that people were using Google when Google first came out. And like, I got really good at Google to the point where my ex-wife was like, "How are you finding this stuff? Can you like find XYZ for me?" And I'm like, "Yeah, sure." And it's just like the terminology that you use, right? And so, what this video was saying was that the way that people are using ChatGPT is just very basic. You need to trick it. You need to trick it into being someone so that they can give you better advice.
Yes.
You know, and like I've used it to like build a plan for like the next 18 months on what I should do and how I should go about doing it and all that type of stuff. Whether or not I execute on it is another question, but like, you know, at least it's there.
Yeah.
At least someone's done it for me, you know.
Well, it gives you a good base to work with and then make changes rather than having to come up with it all yourself. So it's I think it's great.
And that's the biggest thing, I think, as you certainly for me, like as I get older, it's better to have already an idea that's given to me that I can evolve and change as opposed to coming up with the idea. Because I don't have the capacity to come up with the idea anymore. Like I'd much rather see what other people are doing and try to make it my own.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Which makes sense. Yeah.
And so the question about your brother was that whether or not this kind of like entrepreneurial like aspect of you came from watching him or maybe came from watching your parents. Like, yeah.
It's interesting. I'm not sure if it came from my brother as much, but I definitely think for both of us from our parents. As you get older, you start seeing things that are quite similar. And I know, you know, my mum and dad similar and different in many ways. But I think definitely this sort of the entrepreneurial side of things, you know, my dad very successful with business and coming up with different ideas and learning and making things happen. And I think that's very much translated through, certainly for me and the work that I do, and even just elements of being prepared to take risks, you know, having this mindset around, okay, maybe I don't know how to do it and I don't have expertise in that area, but I can go and learn. And the only thing that's actually getting in my way is me learning.
Yeah.
So it doesn't matter what it is, I can go and learn how to do it. And I think we're in such an incredible time where we have access to information, we can get it quickly, we can learn quickly, get obsessed with it and, you know, make things happen. And so I think that's definitely, particularly with watching my dad and how he's approached businesses and, you know, learning, I've definitely taken a lot from him.
You're only limited by the restrictions you put in your own brain on what you think you can and can't do, right?
Absolutely.
Because everything's already been done before.
Yeah. And I think the interesting, I do a lot of work with NLP and narrative coaching and so sort of the stories we tell ourselves. And I think that's probably one of the best things that, you know, all the different studies and different things that I've done throughout my life, understanding that, you know, everything we do is a process. How you brush your teeth is a process. How you get dressed is a process.
Hear that, everybody? Everything is a process. You need to fix that.
Yeah, that's true. Absolutely. Because if I said to you, how do you do happy, or how do you do energetic, or how do you do angry, or how do you do, you know, whatever it might be.
I feel like I'm getting NLP coach right now. Okay, go. How?
Yeah, well, you could pick.
I don't know, Hannah. Tell me.
Well, we're all different, and so we, you know, there's some common factors, but where where you experience different emotions and then how we do things as a result, physically as a result of the thoughts and feelings that we have. So most of the time, for many of us, we get through to certain points in our life and then realize that certain behaviors or certain approaches or strategies that we're applying are not helping us. They're not getting us where we need to be. Never experienced.
Like what? Drinking too much?
Whatever it might be.
I mean, I can't drink, but if that would be a problem,
yeah, absolutely. So that would be a good example.
Or like going out late, coming home too late.
Yeah, communication. So, problem solving, communication in relationships, beliefs about things or...
That's an interesting one. Yeah, like if you have limiting beliefs, how do you go about changing that?
Learning. So...
Being curious.
Yeah, being curious, because often...
Keeping an open mind, Hannah.
Exactly. That's it.
Fuck. That's actually a skill.
It is.
Trying to keep an open mind.
So part of it, again, I think comes back to having that awareness when we recognize that we keep doing the same thing and getting the same result, which sounds really obvious.
Neuroplasticity, right?
Yeah.
Fuck. I did remember that from Claire. Claire told me that.
Thanks, Claire. Good work.
Yeah.
And I think that's what's exciting. And that's one of the reasons I love it.
She also made me cry on the podcast.
Did she?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. We were talking about my best mate that passed away and I was like having a moment. Yeah. Anyway, sorry. Neuroplasticity. We got to keep the brain like fresh and open but I also think that I get it. I get why people don't want to do that. Because they get comfortable. I'm just not like that.
No.
I need to learn.
And sometimes we don't know what we don't know. And it's...
all the time.
Yeah. Yeah. There's this whole other world out there. And I think the part around, being able to swap out your processes, it's almost like if I'm doing this thing and it's not helpful or it's not getting me the outcomes that I want, I can actually learn to, okay, I'm thinking that or I'm telling myself that. Normally I would do this, so I can catch myself through being present. Normally I would respond in this way. Actually, I'm going to swap it out and I'm going to do this instead. And that changes the way that you think for yourself, how you feel about yourself, but also then you start changing your patterns of behavior and obviously the outcomes that you get are more aligned to what you're trying to achieve.
What happens, though, if you got voices in your head that either help you or sabotage you, and then you start realizing, shit, which one's right?
So this is a great question, and this happens a lot for people because often, we're weighing up between, I can hear this and I'm having these thoughts, but then, I can hear this over here and I'm having those thoughts. Which one do I listen to? And one of the reasons we do narrative coaching is to be able to work with people to say, understand what it is and understand the thought processes and the language models that people are using and what they're telling themselves and the beliefs that they have, and also to be able to look at things from a different perspective, because sometimes having someone else ask us questions or helping us see what else could be possible in those scenarios can be of a lot of value. And I guess coming back to what we were saying before, sometimes sometimes people don't trust themselves enough to make the decision and weigh up between the two, and then we'll go and ask other people. And often other people then, maybe people that are not qualified, can then make suggestions to us or offer their opinion and advice, but then sometimes that's coming from their own experiences and their own values and beliefs, and that can be challenging too.
I had to argue with someone who was qualified and told them, no, I'm not doing that. For my own reasons, but, I stand by those reasons.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think it is always going to be an interesting aspect because, you've got like the voices in your head, but then you've also got like the ego, right? And like the ego can either kick in or disappear, and like it's all up to you to work out like which voices, right?
Yeah.
So how long ago did you do NLP?
Quite a few years ago. So early in my career, and then I went back and
Interesting.
did a series of studies with that over the last few years.
Because I've had a few people. No, I had Sierra on the podcast, but I've taken photos of her as well as Shay, and they've both done NLP.
Okay.
So it's been around a while, right?
Yeah, it has. I think like a very long time. I think sometimes it gets a little bit of a bad rap.
Just like everything.
Yeah.
Everyone then starts thinking it's some sort of like fucking pyramid scheme.
Yeah, I think when you understand our language models and how the brain works and the language models, and then the impact of that on particularly on the conversations that we have with ourselves. It's quite interesting.
So just back to neuroplasticity and like keeping an open mind and learning things. A question I asked my new partner a couple of probably about a month ago. I was like, she asked me, because we were talking about challenging ourselves and like what was the last thing that you did to like really challenge yourself. And I had to think about it. And at first I was like, I don't think I've challenged myself for a while. But then I remembered like last year I started Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. It's fucking hard.
Yeah. Are you still doing it?
No.
How did you find it?
Look, the community was really good. I just felt like I wasn't making any progress, and being humbled twice a week, multiple times by people smaller than me, is probably not really what I signed up for. But like I appreciate it 110% and the dedication that people put into it. It's just felt like I started it because I needed to be part of a community. And then once I kind of like worked through some of the shit that I was going through, realized that it's probably not for me. I'm a lover, not a fighter.
Yeah.
Like I can protect you, but like I don't need to be choked out by angry men.
No. Well, great that you can come to that realization for yourself.
Yeah.
And channel into
Yeah.
other ways.
I do want to maybe next year get my skydiving license.
Wow, that would be interesting. What is it about that appeals to you?
It just looks cool.
Have you been skydiving?
Yeah, I've done tandem twice.
Okay.
Yeah. I did get sick the first time, but the second time was a lot better. But it was about 4 months in between. I think because when you get your license, every jump then is like $30.
Okay.
I'm like, how good is that? You just need to do the course.
And then you can jump.
Yeah.
I'm curious. I've been bungee jumping. I've never been skydiving. I'm curious around your mindset and the self-talk in the lead up to jumping.
Okay, so I'd be shitting myself, but I know for a fact that so when you're when you skydive, you're not actually breathing because the air is just being forced into your lungs. And and so skydiving is a little bit like riding a motorbike, which I've also had. And the reason why it's very similar is because and like when you talk to people that ride a motorbike, it's a very freeing experience to be on an open road and there's nothing around, you know, like you're not in a metal box, you know, like you can see the ground and it's moving, right? But like what's actually physically happening is the air's coming up into your helmet and going through your nose. So you're getting more air into your airways than you are just through day to day, right? So because you're getting more in your airways, you're actually getting a little bit high. So when you're skydiving, you're getting really high because you're moving at 200 kilometers an hour, either attached to someone or not. And after you've done tandem, the waiver that you sign beforehand stipulates that you can't go drink for 24 hours because you have excess oxygen in your blood. Okay. So I think my idea of doing skydiving is to just chase the high that I would normally get from riding a motorbike.
On steroids.
On steroids, yeah, 10x.
And fear-wise?
Fear-wise, look, so it wasn't a great experience the first tandem I did because the guy that I was attached to was 5'10" and I'm 6'2". Okay. And he, I think, underestimated when we jumped out of the plane and we tumbled. And then he caught, and then he did all the right things and, braced us. But that tumbling fucking fucked me. I was like, God damn, like my motion sickness, really got to me. And then next thing, boom, we're like landing and I'm like, what the fuck happened?
And it clearly didn't stop you from wanting to go back and do it again.
Yeah, so I did it again like 4 months later and a completely different experience. Like the guy was taller. The jump lasted longer because I knew what was happening. And, yeah. And then when the chute's out and you're like sailing down, like everything's just so quiet. So quiet up there.
Really?
Yeah, you can't hear anything.
Interesting.
And so also if you get your license, then you can like skydive like anywhere in the world. Like.
And would you do that by yourself then, moving forward? Like happy to fly on your own?
Happy to fly on my own or happy to fly with someone else? Yeah. I think, like I've got this fascination with jumping out of a plane over Dubai.
Okay.
Yeah, by myself. But I mean, like with a grip, but like with no one attached to me, Yeah.
So is that on your list?
It's definitely on my list. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that would be pretty amazing.
What about you? Have you challenged yourself recently?
It's a good question.
Lots of good questions on this podcast. Thanks everybody for listening.
The good I'm a fan of the good questions. So I know that making an intentional choice to do hard things is really good for you. It's good for your brain. It's good.
Yeah.
It's good for you, and it pushes and challenges us. As you asked me that question, I'm thinking of different scenarios, and I wouldn't necessarily say a huge thing like jumping out of a plane. I find that particularly with having my own business and doing a lot of work that I've been doing, there's a lot of things that I have to do and make decisions every day to do that are out of my comfort zone. And so
running your own business is out of your comfort zone anyway, full stop.
It's been the biggest accelerated learning experience of my life. And I'm so grateful for that. It's been amazing. And when you can get comfortable with trying something, not getting it right all the time, and learning and growing from that, it's a great experience.
Comfortable with being uncomfortable.
Yeah, and knowing that it's, it is part of the process and it is part of learning and getting better, and being able to very quickly be like, okay, I tried that, don't do it again.
Mm.
Or don't do it in that circumstance. And to be comfortable enough to share it with other people who, I've also met a lot of other people who have started their own businesses or about to start their own businesses or, going through different challenges or whatever it might be. And so being able to share some of those learnings with other people as well. Often I think we sometimes need to make mistakes for ourselves and learn for ourselves. But I definitely think if the more we can share some of those experiences with other people and, trying to help people try and avoid them and get to where they're trying to get to a bit faster.
Yeah, I think so for myself, I get having goals and having, things you want to achieve and yada, 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 like all that's great. But I think that's, for me, it's only great for making sure that I'm pointing myself into the right direction.
Yeah.
I'm not too focused on there. I'm focused on the journey of getting there.
Yes.
Like I get curious about the process that I go through and loving the process. I know that there'll be certain aspects that I fucking despise because there's like admin that you have to do, but then I love the process of just like doing things. And so I don't know, like you're much the same? Like you love the process of like doing things?
Yeah, very much. In the, previous few years, I really wanted to set up my own business and do what I'm doing. And I made a lot of lifestyle changes to be able to do what I'm doing now.
Like what?
So I very clearly remember the day I was like, that's it. I'm like, I'm going to do this. And I was sitting in my backyard and I was like, okay, that's it. As of today, this is what I'm going to do. And I'm going to put everything that I need to in place and remove everything else that I need to make this happen. And so literally
that's amazing.
That day I just sat there and I was like, okay, what do I need to do? What's going to make the biggest difference? What's going to have the biggest impact? What will I actually need to do to make this happen? And so I stopped drinking, stopped going out. And when I say out, like out anywhere really. And
you're a homebody now.
Well, now I've sort of ventured out a little bit more again. But,
didn't you just say you went to Portugal?
Yes,
I've
fucking
fucking go out.
Yeah. Yes, I have made it out since.
Okay, but you stopped drinking.
Yeah, I stopped drinking, and
hence how you met Keely.
Yes. So, Keely and I we met maybe 5 or 6 years ago I was speaking at a conference in the city, and I actually met her there. And
what was the conference for? Do you remember?
It was learning and development.
Oh.
It was like a learning and development summit. And I have a special. Well, Keely has a very special place in my heart, and I'm happy to share this story because I think she's a wonderful human being. So a couple of years ago, so this was sort of around the same time that I decided to, make these little lifestyle changes.
Yeah.
And my mum had cancer, and she was very unwell at this stage. And she was in hospital, and I was at the convention centre, and I was James Clear, the author of Atomic Habits, he was speaking. So I went to see him speak, and then I got a phone call from the hospital saying you need to come in, say goodbye to your mum. And I was walking through the crowd. There were thousands of people there, and I heard Hannah, and I was like,
who the fuck's calling out my name? Leave me alone. I'm on a side quest.
I thought it might have been someone from work, but no, it was Keely.
Oh.
And Keely, I was really happy to see her, and she walked over to me and she gave me this little envelope. And inside the envelope, well, on the envelope, I can't remember if there was something on the envelope or not, but inside the envelope, I opened up and there was a little card in it and a coin. And she gave it to me. And I opened it up, and it was, this is a pocket hug for you. And it had this really beautiful message in it. And she obviously didn't know anything about what was happening for me at that time. And so, that was I don't know, very, very special moment for me.
Mm.
And so I then left and went to the hospital and spent the next day or two with my mum. But, you know, I think people pop up in different ways in your life and have a really positive impact.
I'm
and
really
she's been one of
sorry.
those people for me. Thank you.
It's great that you can acknowledge that that was a moment between you and Keely, and I think it also possibly is an indication of higher vibration as well. Yeah, because like when stuff's happening and if things like that occur, then it just means that you're attracting all this good energy. Yeah.
It's a bit special.
Yeah. So I also don't drink, even though my mates are like, he's fucking lying. Like I'll have one drink, but that's about it.
Yeah.
Like, because I actually physically can't drink because I get the Asian flush, like really bad. Thanks to my mum. Thanks, Mum.
Thanks, Mum. It's probably a gift in some ways.
Doesn't matter the fact that I'm 6'2" and almost 100 kilos. Like I just don't have the liver for it. My liver doesn't make the enzyme.
No.
So, so I've never actually had that. Apparently there's an alcohol buzz that people get.
And you don't get it?
I've never had it because I've never drunk enough.
Wow. Okay.
Well, sorry. I've never drunk enough, but also my body just turns into a furnace.
So hot.
Yeah, I get really hot. Like I remember going to like house parties in high school and just walking around with one can of beer and people coming up to me going, "What have you had? We want what you've had." And I'm like, "I don't know what you're talking about. I've just been drinking this beer." And they're like, "Look at your eyes, dude. They're like purple now. Like, what have you been smoking?" I'm like, nothing. But yeah, so now I'm like, like I'll have a drink every now and then, but like it's not something like I don't go out intentionally to like drink and get smashed because I don't know like what for.
No, I wouldn't.
Yeah.
Your body wouldn't. Well, I don't think your brain or your body would appreciate it. So
Yeah. What it also means is I've never had a hangover.
Yeah. Which is great.
Because I've never drunk enough.
That's well, I see the positive. I see the upside.
Yeah. So what were some other so not drinking, not going out, what were some other things that you put into place?
So I went back and studied. I was still working, but I dedicated my time to studying and really planning what I needed to do to help me get set up to do this. I really prioritized. So I have a 17-year-old son, so I really prioritized.
What?
Yeah.
You have a 17-year-old?
I do.
Holy shit. I had no idea.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, there you go. I have a 17-year-old.
Maybe that's because I'm still thinking it's you from like 20 years ago.
Yeah, it still feels that way.
Yeah. Wow.
Yes, I'm very lucky. He's a great boy.
Yeah. Okay, so you've got a 17-year-old son, like prioritized everything, like dedicated yourself to study.
Yeah, and just really became very intentional with how I'd spend my time, who I'd spend my time with, where I was, what I was doing. I know that from a neuroscience perspective, like everything that we eat, I generally eat a ketogenic diet, but, very intentional with all of that because it impacts your brain and your body and your energy and, how clearly you can think and your health, etc.
What's in a ketogenic diet?
So it's predominantly fats, proteins, and very low carb.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
All sounds good to me.
Yeah.
I tried making, I saw this video. Okay, so now I'm going to show my young age. I saw this TikTok. Anyway, chicken chips.
Right.
Where you blend chicken and you like roll it out to then make these crispy chips, right? And then you bake it Fuck me. Could I get it fucking wrong?
Not good.
No, because they just like it came out like pita bread, chicken pita bread. Yeah, I'm like, these are not chips. They're not crunchy. I don't know what happened. Look, in fairness, I did not follow a recipe. I did not check to see whether or not there was a caption that had all the details on how to do it. I was just like watching the video, go, "Yep, that looks about right."
So if anyone's looking to make chicken pita bread sticks,
Yeah,
here's the recipe.
I got the recipe for you, buddy. Just DM me.
What did you put in them?
Well, it's literally just chicken and baking soda.
That sounds delicious.
Look, I did put some seasoning on there as well, but like the whole idea is to put it on baking paper and flatten it out with Glad wrap, right? But like obviously the flattening out situation, I didn't do it properly.
So how did they sort of texture?
Well, they kind of like really puffed up. It puffed up. It didn't like crispify. Yeah, which is strange because I'm like, did I put too much baking soda or not enough baking soda? And like, was there a secret ingredient that they didn't talk about? But so now I've done it twice, and I'm scared to do it a third time. So I'm just maybe just
let it go.
yeah, just maybe going to leave it. The other option is not doing it in a 1 kilo batch.
Okay.
Yeah, and maybe like do them into smaller batches because then I can get the chicken really paper thin because I think that's the trick, getting it paper thin.
Okay.
But I still don't understand how it became really aerified.
Maybe something to do with the baking.
Yeah, maybe.
Interesting.
But yeah, like I'm also interested in obviously health and fitness, and like I've done quite a number of water fasts and like challenging my body to like do other things. But I just love my food too much.
Do you have favorite or go-to
food? I've been making a Indonesian beef rendang for the last 3 weeks, and I've perfected the recipe. And now my mates are like, "When are you gonna make us some?"
That sounds good. I think stick to that instead of the chicken fries.
Yeah, although you can use the chicken pita bread for the I'm like, double the protein.
I like that.
Like no carbs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good. Excellent.
But weird how that kind of like turned out because I was really hoping for the fries. Oh, sorry, the chips. Like crisps, chicken crisps.
I am curious, I must admit. So I'm a bit like, I wonder if I could try and make them. But not sure.
I'll let you try the chicken pita bread.
Okay.
After the podcast.
Thank you.
And see what you think. We may find a crispy one in there, but I highly doubt it.
What if you deep fried it?
That
That's not
goes
healthy, by the way.
Yeah, it goes against trying to keep it healthy. You I could fry it, but then it's just going to come out like a chicken nugget.
Yeah, true.
Like a really thin chicken nugget, which completely negates the whole purpose of either being a chicken chip or a chicken nugget.
Yes. Interesting.
But yeah, intermittent fasting's a real interesting one as well. Like, I tried not eating in the morning and then realized that I can't do that because I train in the morning, so I have to eat. And then tried not eating anything after midday. I was like,
for the whole day?
For the whole day. Like eating everything between 6 a.m. and 12 noon. Trying to maintain a social life or like people wanting to catch up for food is really hard. Yeah.
Yeah. I think you'd have to kind of isolate a little bit to be. It is hard if you're trying to do that.
Yeah. And then, as I said, like I just love my food too much. I'm like, why am I putting myself through this pain when there's so much good food to eat?
Were you trying to achieve something through doing that, or is it part of challenging yourself?
Look, I think it is just a part of challenging yourself, but I also think that we eat too much.
Yeah. We do.
I actually feel better only having 2 meals a day than I do having 3 meals a day. I just have to try to control the coffee intake because, yeah, I know that in itself also is not good.
Too much coffee?
Too much caffeine, yeah.
When you just do the 2 meals a day, do you do like morning and lunchtime or night, or how do you structure it?
It's usually morning and night, yeah. Although I have recently not being able to train in the morning, so just eating later in the day, like having the first meal later in the day. Yeah, like 2 o'clock.
And does that help then if you have coffee in the morning and then eat later?
Yeah.
Yeah, I definitely find the intermittent fasting and eating less and eating ketogenic diet. Just if I'm going to speak at events or conferences, or if I've got things that I really need to focus on, then eating in that way or fasting just so much more clarity and energy and
sharpens
focus.
the mind, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Why is that?
Well,
being a brain specialist.
Well, part of it's your brain producing ketones. So the way we
what are
process.
ketones?
So when you restrict both calories and also like sugars, then we produce ketones. So it helps the way that helps think better, helps burn fat. And so overall the benefits are, feeling more energetic, feeling clearer, more focused. So even for work or for sleep or, longer periods of productivity and focus, it makes a really big difference. But also when I find that a lot of people that I work with, the more sugar that they have, being able to sit and focus becomes a lot harder. So even just those distractions or the cravings or, needing to or wanting to take a break to get up and go and do something else, it has a really big impact. So definitely adding in things like MCT oil and all the rest of it makes a huge difference. So a big fan of the intermittent fasting or periods of fasting and eating a ketogenic diet. It works for me. May not work for everybody, but
yeah, that's the thing, right? Like everybody's slightly different.
Yeah.
So you have to work out what you are. Like, are you an intermittent fasting person? Are you a sauna ice bath person? Blah 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 blah. That's the thing as well, right? There's just so much information now about what you can do to help improve your life. It's just about working out which one's right.
Yeah, and again, we're all different, and I think part of it comes back to what are your goals and why what are you trying to achieve and why do you want to achieve that? Because I think the why you want to achieve, it's also important to be able to commit to it and stick to it and to get the value from it. And the other thing too is I think there's a lot of I think there's some basic science, some research around what's good for people in general as a whole, and then what's good for the individual, and that obviously varies. So I think for people to get their blood work done, to think about their own goals, their own unique lifestyle factors, and then work out what's going to work for them. Because I think otherwise it's easy to fall into, here's what everyone's doing, so I should do that. And I think that can be more detrimental.
Yeah, you don't want to be a sheep.
No.
Try to work stuff out yourself.
Yeah.
Use them as a reference point, but I think that's also where some people get frustrated in that things aren't happening for them because they try to like do the same thing that everybody else is doing. Like you have to kind of like work stuff out that's like customized for yourself and what makes you feel happy.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. Our brains are different and our lives are different and our goals are different, and the be the best you because everyone else is taken. And I think when we have the opportunity to go within and really think about, well, what do I want out of my life? What does the best version of me look like? And the version of me that I'm happy with. And then what do I need to do to make that happen?
That's an interesting topic, actually. Versions of you.
Yes.
And realizing that you can have different versions of yourself today versus different versions of yourself like in your past, experiences.
Very much.
Like I often say, like I've lived 4 or 5 different lives already.
Mm-hmm.
And people are like, what are you talking about? And I'm like, oh, well, there was this, and then there was this, and then there's this. I was like, people are just like, what the hell? Like, how? I'm like, I don't know. It's just kind of happened.
And yeah, I think that's interesting and something to think about and to keep in mind is we do grow and we do evolve and we do change, and there are different versions of ourselves. And again, not having seen you for so long, and then obviously I saw what you're doing as well. And if if we met again in another 10 years' time or 20 years' time, I'm sure it would be very different. And
I'll come visit you in Portugal.
yes, do.
No, it's not going to be 10 years. Jesus
No,
Christ. I'll get you back
week.
on the podcast.
Thank you.
In Portugal.
In Portugal, yes, and in Asia.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think that's it's exciting because I think it means that a lot of the people that I work with get so, and it's human nature, I think, to an extent where, we assign our identity to who we were in the past. And so much of our thinking can get caught up in going back to the past. And this is who I was and this is what happened. And, I am this way because of this and I am this way because of that. And at what point do we stop saying I am that person because of that? And so being able to almost celebrate the fact that we do change and we do evolve and we do become different versions of ourselves, and we can. I think that's exciting. Part of that also comes into, again, the stories that we tell ourselves, that internal narrative and beliefs piece, because and the people that we have around us. So if you've got people around you that keep trying to remind you that you're still the same person that you were, 30 years ago, or that can make it hard to to grow and evolve as well.
It definitely makes it hard. It's fucking annoying, actually. I'm like, I don't need to be reminded. I don't need to be reminded what I did 20 years ago in my night clubbing days, because like that person's gone.
Yeah.
Like I don't do that anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's the taking the ownership of evolution and constantly growing, I think it's interesting because, that's what I love about people as well, is that there are going to be some people who just love being who they are and staying in the one place. And that's great for you. It's just not for me. I'm like, I've got to keep going. I have to keep moving. And like, what's interesting is, I think in all my past relationships, probably the number one, and it hasn't been as obvious, but I've kind of worked it out, but the number one thing, a contributing factor to why things broke down was because I'm constantly growing. And whoever I was with didn't like that, in the sense that they felt like they couldn't grow fast as well. And so what happens is they get left behind. But like, don't try to limit me. otherwise, like, that's it.
How and that's it. I think that's a really interesting scenario,
Mm.
and I think people experience that.
Mm.
How, may I ask, how, knowing that and having had those experiences in the past, how would you then, I know you've got a new relationship, so you don't necessarily have to talk about that, but how would you take, some of the learnings from that into a different relationship, or, can you avoid that from happening, or can you, like, how would you approach that, or could you approach that?
Look, I mean, obviously with past relationships, there has been other aspects to it as well. But I think for me, like personally, what I've noticed is this. Like, I'm constantly growing, and so if someone tries to put like limitations on me, that's obviously not great for me, and like I don't like that. And so, like a caged bird, all I want to do is get out of the cage. So, I think it's about still being open and honest about what's going on, this growth component, and try to bring people along with me. Because it'd be great if I could have like someone that comes along for this growth journey.
Yeah.
Because all I ever want to do is see other people grow as well. But yeah, it's the great thing is that all I ever try to do is just be better from yesterday, and have that mentality. And I think she has that mentality as well, which is fantastic. So, yeah.
I like the just focusing on being better than yesterday and being,
Yeah.
instead of competing with other people as well. It's like, how do I be the better version of me?
Mm.
And the micro growth and changes I'm interested. So would that be part of a conversation that you or someone else might have around, this alignment piece when people start dating and getting to know each other about some of that? Like, and I know I've had these conversations, but how interested are you in growing? How important is that to you? Like, what do you do to push yourself or challenge yourself or do hard things? Or are there conversations like that you would have or that you think are important or of value?
What's interesting is that conversation that she brought up about challenging yourself. Like, what's the most challenging thing that you've done recently?
Yeah.
And then I had to really think about it. Like, that's it's a question that I'd never really been asked before, right? So just by having that question being asked, I know that there's this like curious mindset piece. Yeah. And then there's been other like conversations that we've had where I've gone, fuck, that's actually really quite different. Like, I can't believe it. Who are you? Where have you come from? And yeah, so that's kind of how I know how it's like super different, But it's early days, so we'll see how things go. But for all intents and purposes, looking good.
Excellent. I'm happy. That's great.
Yeah. Who inspires you?
Who inspires me?
Yeah.
I feel really lucky to have had so many, like I've met so many amazing people in my life, and both of my parents are two of them. Like as I mentioned before, like my dad from a business perspective is, incredible what he's done and how he goes about approaching things, and he's a very good storyteller and his ability to engage people and connect. So I've always taken a lot from that. And the same with my mum. She was, one of the strongest, most amazing people, and really clever, funny and strong and resourceful. and just really impressive human being. My brothers and sisters, same thing. They're amazing. I love them, and I'm very grateful for them, and they're the closest people to me. If I could choose to hang out with them and their kids, I would every day of the week. I really value and appreciate them. And then I've had other people, that I've worked with, people that have been managers, like Nigel Adams, who used to work at NAB.
Oh, shit.
Yeah.
Damn. He was at ANZ as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, good old Nigel. Where is he now?
He's finished up there, and so he's doing a bit of consulting, and we've done a little bit of work together, which is very cool. So he was, I was still quite young then.
What do you mean? You are still quite young.
Thank you. I know, it feels like just yesterday. He was such a great leader, and he just, I was in a relatively senior role back then, and he just believed in me, and he just literally would ask me great questions and be like, just great, go. You what do you think I should do? Like, what do you need from me? And he was really empowering and an incredible person in my life from that regard.
Yeah.
So there's so many different people, and I love seeing people, challenge and go through challenges and learn from that and overcome those and go on to do amazing things. And this year in particular, I've traveled a lot around the world through work, and just the generosity of complete strangers, and
isn't that fucked? It's fucked how generous strangers are compared to people that know you. I mean, I'm generous because I've had you on the podcast. So
you are very generous. You always have been.
Yeah. But I certainly find that people who I don't know, like absolute strangers, it's just
amazing.
Yeah, is that not weird?
I've definitely reflected on that this year, and I've been really blown away by it, to be honest. And really just this generosity and beauty, and it's incredible. And the support, and this the willingness that people have to help and connect, and to again give you their time and hold space for you, and and there's this beautiful exchange. It reminds me a little bit, it's almost like a little bit of a barter system, like the old days. It's, how can barter you card. Add this shared value to each other or for each other?
There isn't a book of services, is there? Barter card.
No. Could be. So I obviously there's, I listen to a lot of podcasts and read a lot, and I don't watch TV. So there's plenty of, really smart, amazing people. And I find sometimes listening to podcasts and listening to audiobooks, you feel connected. And some of these people have become really big part of my world. But definitely I think I feel like so lucky it's the little things. It's waking up every day, doing what I do, having the life that I have, having the people in it, having my coffee, and being able to talk to different people. Having my coffee is one of the highlights of my day.
Did you know you can lose 80% of your will to live without coffee?
That's a lot.
That is a lot.
That's a lot. Sometimes before I go to bed the night before, I'm like, I can't wait for my coffee the next day.
I can have a coffee at night.
You can?
And still go to bed.
Really?
Yeah.
You're one of those people. Lucky. See, this is your trade-off for not being able to have alcohol.
Yeah. It's really weird. Because then sometimes if I have a coffee at 7 p.m., I can't sleep. But if I have a coffee at 10, I can sleep at 11.
That's interesting.
It's really weird. Maybe my body goes, all right, all this energy we're going to put into sleeping, zonk.
I'm sure there'd be some element of it aligning back to your circadian rhythm and energy throughout the day. That's interesting.
Anyway, I think it's nice to hear that the people that inspire you are your parents and your family.
Yeah.
Are they all? Is your dad still in Bangkok?
Yes.
And then all your brothers and sisters here?
My brother's overseas as
Oh, your
well,
brothers.
but the younger brothers and sisters are all here.
Yeah,
which is
cool.
Yeah. So yeah, there's amazing people in my life, and I genuinely like that's my family obviously a big part of it. I have amazing friends and different people that I'm so grateful for.
So this year is almost over. We're in December. What the fuck happened there?
I don't know. It's gone very quickly.
Joe Rogan said the other day, because I listen to a lot of him, don't hate on me. He said the other day, the reason why things are so slow when you're younger, so when you're 10 and a year goes past, it's only 1/10 of your life, right? Whereas when you're 40 and a year goes past, it's so much quicker because you've already lived so much.
Yeah.
I'm like, one, I get the logic, but two, why? Why does it seem like it goes so fast? Is it because we're just so busy and distracted and we've got so much stuff going on?
Do you remember being a kid and over the school holidays seemed to last forever?
And like going for a drive and falling asleep in the car later in life, then realizing it was only a 20-minute drive. Like, what the fuck happened?
The time, so I know that it's probably slightly to the side of this. There's definitely some research around time and like how you're able to slow down time. And so things like being present, listening to sort of slower, more calm music, like just different experiences slow time down.
Like camping
Yeah.
and fishing. All the things that I hate. No.
And sometimes when when you're wanting time to go really quick, like if you're waiting for an appointment or you're waiting somewhere or you're trying to get somewhere in a hurry and it seems to take forever. So sometimes I think it's your mindset around it as well.
That was a very big tangent over time and stuff. But what I was going to get to was, considering this year's almost over, what's happening for you next year?
So next year, so I've just this week come back from the Neurotechnology Summit in Sydney, which was amazing. Really interesting people. So talking about neurotech and AI.
Hey, are you going to get Neuralink? Are you getting a microchip in your head?
Not for me, no.
No?
Not at this stage. Not for me.
Conference didn't sell you on it?
I'm definitely interested in this space, and we do a little bit of work with neurotech. I'm interested in...
What the fuck? Really? How?
So
Sorry.
So there's all kinds of like neurotech, and so things from brain mapping, so we can do like, it's not a new thing, but like EEG, QEEG, so scan your brain and look at your brainwave activity. You can use there's different wearables. So there's all sorts of different, neurotech that you can use, but obviously the more, I think, area of interest for a lot of people is, what's happening like with Neuralink and...
Yeah, I just want to control my phone. Or like talk to people telepathically.
Well, from
because people are doing that, right?
It's not too far away. It's very, very, very interesting what's happening in that space.
Like we're talking 5 years or what? In this lifetime?
Well, it's already being used to be able to, for people with paralysis and to be able to use computers and...
I thought you were going to go down the pathway of conspiracy theories then and what's it called? Remote viewing?
Yeah. So with the chips and, like the technology is incredible in terms of being able to read people's thoughts and different bits and pieces, but that's like a whole other conversation.
Yeah, that is a whole other conversation. So you just got back from this neurotech summit, but next year, are you going to be presenting at the neurotech summit?
So next year, I'm going to Vegas, which is exciting. So that's in January. So that's
not for a holiday.
Not for a holiday.
Damn it!
I've never been before.
I've never been either. You might get married.
Probably not.
Probably not. Shit. You might have a hangover situation.
I'll be on my best behaviour.
You're going to go see Chow.
I'll tell him you said hi.
Okay. You know he was a doctor.
Yeah, right.
He was a doctor and he took up being a comedian.
It's very funny.
Living the life.
There you go. See?
Yeah.
Change, evolution.
Yeah. Change is good.
So, yeah, I'm going to that. It's like it's CES, so it's sort of AI, robotics, innovation summit.
That's fucking cool.
Yeah, so I'm very excited for that.
Do they give you a sample bag
I hope
to
so.
come home with?
Hopefully it's got I was going to say some stationery, but maybe some like technology would be a little bit more evolved.
Like a pair of Apple Vision Pros.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I'll make you a deal. If I get some, I'll bring them back for you.
Sweet.
So we're going to do that. So that's very much an area of interest for me. And then and the work that we do. And then we've got I guess continuation of the work that we're doing with the business. I don't have too many trips planned next year at this stage. I feel like I've traveled quite a bit this year. So
maybe just trips for pleasure.
Yes, maybe try and get a few holidays in there, which would be nice.
Yeah.
And I think my son's going into year 12 next year, so I'll probably try and...
That'll be a tough year. I don't think you'll be... I don't think you'll be travelling for that because he'll need support.
Yeah, so that's why I'm trying to limit some of that. So be here, do that, stay fit and healthy, find lots of different interesting things to challenge myself and meet different people and hopefully keep having a positive impact in the space that we're having. Connect with amazing people like yourself.
Thank you. We need to talk about my next business venture, but we'll talk about that off the podcast.
We do. I'm very excited to hear about it.
Yeah. How can people contact you?
On LinkedIn or through Instagram. Feel free to reach out. So Hannah Conkey at MindPilot. Otherwise, feel free to reach out to Andrew.
I love that name, MindPilot.
You like it?
Yeah.
Thank you. So may I ask, what's your interpretation of what that means?
I guess just like being in control of your mind.
Yeah.
Taking control.
Yeah.
And not allowing it to control you.
Absolutely. Yeah. Putting you in the driver's seat.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Let me just take a quick selfie. Amazing. Hannah, thank you so much for coming.
Thank you so much for having me. It's been so great to spend some time with you and to have this conversation.
Yeah, and I'm sure there's plenty other topics that we could venture into, but we'll save that for another episode.
Amazing.
Awesome. Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
See ya.
See you. Bye.